What's one thing you've seen differently in terms of how high-performing leaders perform under pressure compared to leaders who don't perform well under pressure?
That's really really interesting for two counts, because there are two people that come to mind for me. One of them was a former commanding officer that I worked with, and then another one is a CEO of a fairly large and complex business. And in both cases, it was the level of their empathy, but a high pressure, however that turned up, when those situations were there. And it's, let's be frank, sometimes the high pressure situation was somebody else's pressure, not yours. But it's how they were able to just remain composed, and in some cases not say anything, but to help bring the temperature down in the room, and create an equilibrium in terms of how people are starting to position and voice their concerns or voice the pressure, whatever that might look like. And that is, again, I'm a firm believer that in all of these things there are ability to train and learn them, but there is also some natural ability in terms of people's behaviours and how they've grown, the experiences they've had, and then suddenly they blossom into this person that just has that ability to create a calming presence. That's harder to train, because you have to have the experience of doing that, and you have to have gone through some of the hard yards to do it. But I can remember, a commanding officer, they had a long, successful career and multiple different experiences along the way, that when they were, sat either at the bird table if we were planning, or in an O group, you could just feel that calming presence. And then the CEO, and I've seen it where we've had not just the board sat around the table, but the sub managers, or we've done an away day, just bringing things back to a real level area, where it gets a little bit heated, or people have that ego thing where they don't agree with each other, and suddenly you can feel the pressure starting to build in the room, where they've just got that presence, that calming presence, and they can say. And by the way, on this, it doesn't just boil down to having that calming presence. It's also nipping in the bud the behaviours that aren't conducive. And when somebody's got a real strong level of I think, humility and empathy, it's brilliant to watch somebody do that with such skill and precision, without actually shutting somebody down and putting them back in a box, which is what I see happen a lot of time. And then you hear nothing from them, and they're a valued member, to then suddenly doing it in such a way it's kind of like there's a light goes on, and they're kind of like, oh yeah, see, apologies, I was just getting a bit excited, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, there's a couple of leaders that have inspired me, and I think humility, empathy are at the core of that.